The final step to seal a marriage between a couple is consummation, which of course is the sexual intimacy between the newly wedded couple. It is in fact so important such that if the situation arises where both parties to the marriage decide that they no longer want to proceed with the marriage, what they will obtain from the court is not a divorce, but an annulment, which establishes that of course the marriage in fact never happened. So what happens when these honeymoon that has been looked forward to but unfortunately is unable to happen because for one night, not just for one night, right? It's just for one whole year. And this penetration is unable to happen because of a result or a condition known as vaginismus. Sounds very impossible to some people, but it is possible. And this is the case of our guest today. Her name is Titoluwa Sam-Oladapo. She's a vaginismus survivor and an experiential coach. She's also the author of Pop My Cherry Now, a book where she chronicles her story dealing with vaginismus and shares helpful techniques to couples who find themselves in similar situations. Good morning, Tito. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. You look beautiful.
So do you? It's as if we planned the color. We're twinning in red.
I don't really understand, but I really like it.
Maybe red is the
color of vaginismus.
Is that the color?
Breaking?
Yeah, maybe
No.
maybe the.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if there's a particular color, but if there will be, it'll probably be red or pink.
Right, because maybe that will symbolize the blood that is shed when, which is not, the case all the time, but in some cases when there is penetration. Yeah. So let's talk about this, Tito. You had looked forward to your wedding night for the longest time. Yes. And on your wedding night, penetration was impossible. Take us back to that night. What was it like for you? Okay,
so like I chronicled in the book, I said it wasn't the night because we were really tired. So that's first me, we were really tired. It had been a difficult period getting to our wedding, and we finally got there. So we slept for, I think the first night we slept for like 12 hours. We're really tired. So the next night we had come back to, because I got married in Ibadan, then we had come back to Lagos, and we're in the hotel. And prior to that time, I'd spoken to two good friends. I have a very tight-knit community of solid people, friends who are open with things like that. So they told us to get lubricants and condoms and all whatnot. And so we went shopping, the tension was building. Funny enough, thinking about it, Olive, it wasn't like we were shy of anything. We knew this is what we wanted to do. So yeah, we got the stuff, got back to the hotel, and then the whole tension leading up to it, foreplay went on and all that, and bam, nothing, pain and tears. And it felt like there was something wrong with me. Yeah, I remember thinking, no, that actually, Tito, there's something wrong with you. I remember that was the first thought. I kept like, why must every phase of your life be difficult? Why must it be like you're breaking something at every point? Because like I said, the wedding, leading up to the wedding, I planned my wedding in 3 weeks. It was, prior to that time, we didn't even know we're going to get married. Like there were so many hurdles to cross. And so this was supposed to be like a compensation, an exhaling, a relief, and it wasn't. So by the second day of my wedding or my marriage, I was already crying. Then my husband started to flip, the surf the internet, check for tips to disvirgin. He was a virgin as well. So I would find out later, first time we recorded our YouTube video, that he also felt less of a man. He felt inadequate because he felt maybe if he had, gotten experience in that regard, maybe he would not see his wife crying on their honeymoon, but he could not even admit that pain. He could not, because I was too weak for both of us to be weak at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
So this went on not just for 1 or 2 nights, it went on for 1 year.
Yeah.
What was that 1 year like? What were the measures you tried to take?
Ooh, okay, I went to the hospital, I think a month after, on the 1 month anniversary, if there's something like that, we went to the hospital, and I went to the hospital actually. I went to see a gynecologist. This was my first gynecology visit ever, and I was violated basically by the gynecologist, who happened to be the CMD. And then after that, but the tension or the pressure to just get this thing over with didn't even make me think about the violation. I couldn't process that trauma. It was just, let me just get this thing, just tear me open. That's what I told. So I finally did a surgery in Ibadan. I went back to Ibadan. I did a surgery, but that didn't work as well because I must say, vaginismus is a condition of the mind. It's not. It plays out in the physical, but the root is in the mind. So every physical therapy and all of that we did or we tried to do didn't work because the mind hadn't been dealt with. I didn't know that. I knew that September last year. So I got married December 2020. It was in September that I would say that I got the mental breakthrough first, before November 18 when that
Wow,
happened.
that's such a long time.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what this was like for you. Was your family aware of this? Was your husband's family aware?
No, nobody. My mom was initially, but then I didn't tell her the surgery didn't work. So she knew up until surgery, and then I didn't tell her. I remember calling her the day it finally happened. It was like a dream. Like anytime I think about it, it's like it was like it had happened, because it felt like it was never going to happen, you know. So I remember calling her and she was like, Otio, like, that's a lie, you know. But I told her, I said I didn't, because Olive, I saw in 4 weeks, I saw my mom become a shadow of herself, because, this is not happening for her daughter, you know. And that means the marriage has not been consummated. And if for anything happened and we needed to seek a divorce, it wouldn't even be a divorce, it would be an annulment, because that means according to the law, the marriage never happened. It's that important. So you must understand that it was a lot for my husband and myself, caused a lot of rifts, you know. So I had even touch, my husband wants to hug me or touch me, I'm already pushing back, because it just constantly reminds me of something I cannot do or I could not do. So we had to walk through so many different kinds of,
Hurdles.
Hurdles, yeah.
Yes.
We had to jump through hurdles.
Okay, now your story became highlighted when you shared on social media and
Yeah.
it went viral.
Yeah.
Between that time and now, what would you say has been the reaction? How many women have come forward? I'd like to know how popular the situation is. Are there a lot of women who have to deal with vaginismus in Nigeria and in Africa?
Yeah, there are. It went viral on the 20. I think it started gaining some sort of acclaim on the 27th, but as at 28th of December 2021,
okay,
it went viral. Blogs started to carry it and all of that. And as a result of that, my DM was flooded. At a point I had about 1,000 DMs, and I told myself I was going to at least identify with, if not every, but at least most of the women there. So not only people who had been married who had the issues, but also virgins who were scared. So I discovered that I had to also deal with that, because it's a mental thing. Anyway, so it's very common. Even yesterday, I still had a message from somebody who's going through it. So I would say, from what I've seen, you know, I'm sorry, but I also want to specify that actually a couple of my friends and family members went through this, who didn't share, who didn't talk about it. So it's underdiagnosed because people don't seek solution for it. People don't go to the hospital to say, oh, this is what's going on. And so some doctors, including the one that I saw that I said violated me, he didn't exactly know what it was. The gynecologist who actually diagnosed me had to take time to study and research after the surgery to finally give me the diagnosis. Okay, you have vaginismus. So there are other ways. So it's very common. It's really common. It's very, very common.
Will every case of vaginismus, would it end in surgery, or are there other ways around it?
I don't think it has to end in surgery. Like I said, my surgery didn't work. It was waste of time for me and waste of my emotions, physical, because I was dizzy for 2 weeks because I was put to sleep completely, you know. So the anesthesia, I think, made me weak for 2 weeks, and my husband had to take care of me and all that jazz. Anyway, it doesn't have to end, and that's what I'm advocating for. That even if it has to, maybe there are different causes for vaginismus. However, even if it has to be that, the mind has to be dealt with first. The mind is the first point of call. So I work with people, I work with their mind, you know, and I discovered also that religion plays a part of it, in it, and I address that in my book extensively. But I just stopped saying sex is bad. Even if it's premarital sex for a long time, or intimacy is bad for a long time, does something to the mind. And then immediately, because I wore white and walked down the aisle, the mind is not supposed to change. It doesn't do that. So what I do now is I paint a good picture of intimacy between husband and wife. I explain the plethora of emotions and all that stuff that you would enjoy. However, if you decide to wait, don't wait because it is bad. Wait because it's better at a particular time.
Right. Tito, yours is one story that still leaves me in awe, and I thank you for sharing.
Thank you so
I mean,
much
it's not
for
something that
having
we really talk about, like you
Yeah.
said. It's very underreported because we have a hush-hush culture. So when the things that matter, people don't talk about certain things. They're like forbidden topics, conversations like this, like miscarriages. We don't know that a lot of women
yeah.
have gone through it, but
Yeah.
these are things that haven't been talked about.
Yeah.
We've been speaking with Titoluwa Sam-Oladapo, who is the author of Pop My Cherry Now, and she is also a vaginismus survivor and experiential coach. She's just shared her story with us. We're going to break, and when we come back, we'll be wrapping things up. Or maybe I should probably bring in Joe Hansen into the conversation. Joe, it's been a very interesting conversation this morning, and maybe I should just get your thoughts on this before we talk about what's happening later today.
Very deep, very insightful. For many, this is the first time they're hearing this. And for some, they're wondering, what does it take for one to still stand strong, be an advocate like Tito is doing? And I must commend her prowess in the face of all of this. Well done. Well done.
Very true.